Red is
Red,
on.
do you see
But I
red?
was looking at these.
Yep.
6:30.
All right, let's call the meeting to order. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance and then the prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Who would like to say the prayer?
I have.
Okay, Lonnie.
Bow your heads, please. Father God, we come to you as humbly as possible. We thank you for your many blessings. We thank you for this opportunity to serve, for that's what you've called us to do. God, we ask that you be in the midst. We ask that you cover our hearts, our minds, our words, and our thinking. In all that you do, we ask that you lead us, guide us, and protect us. These blessings I ask in your name, amen.
Amen.
Let's do roll call.
Ward 1, Bud Maradino.
Stephanie Kramer, Ward 2.
Jim Wright, Ward 3.
Dr. Lonnie Clayton, Ward 2.
Sherry Mitchell, Mayor.
Roger Manette, Ward 1.
Jeff Thibodeau, Ward 3.
Let the record show everybody's present. Any conflict of interest statement?
Probably with the executive session.
No, just on
Okay.
the regular agenda items. Any citizen comments?
Nothing turned in, Mayor.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and look at our review consent items.
I'll make a motion that we approve them.
And a second? All in favor of approving the consent items?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed. All right, we're going to go into our executive session, so we will be back.
Hello at the junction.
This is fast.
Gave you time to follow.
All right, let's call the meeting back to order. Everybody ready?
Yes.
Consideration, discussion, and approval. Pay adjustment for city employees. We'll start with Sabrina. We're going to do a cost of living increase of 2.5%.
I'll
All
make
in
that.
favor?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same for Heather, 2.5%. And a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And for Charlie, 2.5%.
I'll make a motion that we do that.
At this abstain.
Yes.
Same.
Yep.
All in favor?
Wait a minute, we don't have a
I'll
second.
second.
That's why I was waiting for the second.
Sorry.
That's okay.
You're abstaining. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Now, Mayor, that's 2.5%, and then we round up.
Up to the nickel.
To the nearest
To the
nickel.
nickel.
Round up, not
Very
down.
good.
All right, next item up for consideration, discussion, and approval is a quote received by Jefferson County for repairs to the west side of Riverbend Boulevard, 13500 and 13600 block of Thousand Oaks, and the 1330 block of Chimney Rock. Can I have a motion?
I'll just make that motion.
Second it.
Discussion?
Well, I'll go ahead and say what I did. We had the county come out and we identified some roads that needed repair. One of them was Thousand Oaks, in the back there that's been in dire need of repair since we did the blacktop on the roads. It needed it at that time, but it didn't get repaired. So, and then Sabrina brought to my attention the east end of Chimney Rock, a road down there. It looked like Jeff's Road, almost as bad as Jeff's Road was. Jeff didn't have a road when they blacktopped Jeff Road. I mean, it was basically a shell road.
How'd you get home?
I parked my bicycle at the corner.
So anyway, so I got with the county, and then, in the end of the boulevard over there, and the materials, y'all all have it in your packet. It's $25,248. In the bank right now, what we have for road funds is $107,917. That's all the franchise fees that are going into that account. So we're gonna spend $25,000 of that. The county's, now wait a minute, we're approving this amount of money. This is also a real ballpark, depending on how much material we need. It could be over, but we're gonna expect it to be less. Now, but anyway, it's right there at it. They measured our pile of rock. They're gonna use that rock. We're buying tar, we're buying the rest of the rock, we're buying some limestone, some cement stabilized limestone to put on Thousand Oak. All that being said, they'll furnish all the equipment and the labor and get the road fixed. And so it's a great deal for us to do, to get those roads repaired. And then we still have 75% of our money still in the bank, you know, when they get finished. So next time we get a chance to do some more roads, we can identify those, and whoever's doing that then can do it. And they also came out and did the patch repair. I'm just throwing this in, well, I can do that later. But anyway.
But I have a question. The process they're gonna use on Chimney Rock and Thousand Oaks, is that going to be like they did on Shipley, or are they going to actually grind the existing asphalt top up and into the base?
What they told me is they're gonna level up Chimney Rock. They're gonna go in on Thousand Oaks and dig out the two spots that are real bad. They're gonna dig those out, fill them up with cement stabilized limestone. I used to be sand, but cement stabilized limestone. Put that in there, pack it, because they said just leveling that road up and putting that stuff on top is gonna create those same spots again. It won't last. So they're gonna go in and stabilize those areas. The end of the boulevard, they're gonna haul 4 inches of limestone. That's what they said would be the best thing to do. Put 4 inches of limestone in there pretty soon after we approve this. They're gonna put 4 inches of limestone in that U-turn down there, and then let it sit until they do this. The time frame on this is sometimes this year, barring a hurricane or major disaster. If we have a hurricane or major disaster, then we could get kicked to the first of next year. But we're on the sheet to get done. We're on the thing.
I think it's excellent work. The work on Thousand Oaks, will it include the cul-de-sac on the west end?
Not real clear on that. They're probably gonna run that rock out. They'll do Chimney Rock first, and then we'll move on to Thousand Oaks. We wanna get rid of that rock. That's another thing out of the park. We got a gigantic pile of rock over there that we wanna get rid of. So they said we're real close on the amount of rock that we have. So if we have extra rock, I'm sure that they'll probably run that on out, you know, down that way. I mean, last time they came out and did Shipley, they were only gonna do a block, and they did about 4 or 5 blocks. So, I mean, they go above and beyond whatever they're gonna do, you know?
Yeah, that's a turnaround down there for the garbage truck and school buses, so. I think it's excellent. I'm surprised we had that much money in the franchise fee. I'm pleased with that.
We just
We actually
recently,
moved some over.
we
some more
just
money.
recently started it. Now, all the franchise fees will go directly into the road fund account. Some history of the road fund. Years ago, we ran out of money in the road fund. We couldn't fix any roads out here. We had to add on to the water bill to build that up, and it was designated strictly for the road fund. Y'all can imagine what would happen if we tried to add on $20 a month to people's water bills out here to try to, you know, subsidize the roads. So we need to be careful about what we do, but we can't help a hurricane or something. I mean, we can't help that. But this right here, general repair, we can do.
We're also looking on that material that we got. I think Mayor Emmons got a good deal on rock. We just bought it thinking that we would be using it, and lo and behold, it's now the end of the use.
Well, I think,
Some opportunities need to be considered going on.
I think the good thing is we got some lanyap in there. If we run over, the costs run over, we can handle that. 'Cause that's
And
not bad.
I'll go ahead and say that, you know, they try to estimate high on their end, because at the end of the day, they want to be heroes, not the bad guy. So they'd like to come in low, okay, under. But that doesn't say that we're gonna have to buy a bunch more rocks, because we may. I mean, to measure that, you know, it's made like this, and it's long, and, I mean, how do you know how much you got? They have a formula for it, and they can get close, but it's not an exact science.
Do you have a timeline?
Yeah, sometime this year,
Okay.
barring a disaster, a hurricane or something like that, and then if something like that does happen, we would be first on the list next year. But as of before this happened and before Brandon got into office, we weren't on the list. Didn't have a time frame.
So
That
no
rock-
particular months have been discussed or pinpointed at this time?
No, but they'll give us a heads up. They're gonna put that limestone at the end of the boulevard early so that it can get packed down in the end of that thing. So we want that to happen.
Judge, you're asking for approval for $25,248?
Yeah, I'm just asking for input and approval, and, you know, if y'all think that's a good deal, I mean, I'd like to go ahead and give them the go-ahead so that then we'll be 100% on the list. I kinda made the mistake of saying, yeah, y'all can go ahead and put the limestone down there whenever y'all ready, and then I looked at how much that limestone cost, and that was $7,000 something, and I went, oops. So I called him and said, hey, you know, y'all aren't fixing to come next week, are you? Because we don't have a council meeting, but if you are coming next week, then we'll call a special meeting and get it approved so that y'all can do it, because we're on their timeline, you know? We're just at their mercy to get stuff done. And they've dug some ditches, they've done some work out there, so it's good.
I'll call for a vote, yeah.
No more discussion?
We just need a
All in
vote.
favor of approving the $25,000 to improve the roads?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Good.
Next item up for consideration, discussion, and approval is suspended city-sponsored and funded events for 2025. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second?
I'm going to hand this over to Stephanie, as she's the one that brought this to the agenda.
Yeah, I know I wasn't gonna get brownie points for this one, but after last town hall, there was a discussion related to the excellent job that Jeff did getting the nutrition services here for our seniors. I think it's an excellent program. Unfortunately, this building is not ADA compliant as far as accessing the door. We don't have to be ADA compliant because the building's 1974, yada, yada, but we have to remove barriers as best as we can. And so I thought if we reallocate funds from events without adding to our spend this year, we can accommodate the seniors, which makes up more than 40% of our current community.
So now we can open for discussion? Okay.
Any discussion?
Anybody have any comments?
Yeah. Do you have any idea as to what we're talking about in a little more detail that we could put a
Yes.
dollar on it?
Not necessarily dollars, because I don't know what is already planned in Jeff's funds to do this building, okay? I don't know what has already been established, so I don't even, that's why I was like, let's temporarily suspend this, because I don't even know if we
Yeah,
need to spend all of it.
Let me suggest you deal them as separate events, because, you know, we budgeted last year, for this year's budget, a certain amount for community development, and some of it's already gone. I don't know how much is left, probably 12, 14,000, on Jeff probably tell me. That probably not gonna cover whatever we need to do in here.
No, you don't have to do anything in here, it's just parking lot
Well,
and sidewalk, yeah.
out there either.
Right.
But, my thought is that that's a separate item, and it's not going to be done by next meeting. It's gonna take some design and planning to first identify what needs to be done, and then get estimates. And then
Right,
line up
but if we-
contractors to bid to do it, and then we're gonna probably
So it's
be
kind of
past
the cart
July
before the
4th.
horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying that if we get it and see what the dollar is, then we got two options. One, we can pull from our savings or from our funding and finance it when we're ready, and overshoot our budget. Or the other thing is we budgeted
So
for
I'm
next year.
confused though, because the budget doubled for events to include development from last year. It went from the 7,000 to 13,000, so I thought that included some development. You have to-
Well, I'm
It
gonna
didn't
have to let Jeff comment on that. I don't think it did.
No, we haven't done it
Okay,
on budget.
well-
We maintained the same budget.
It went from,
We're over our budget ending September 2024 by about $3,000.
Not according to our last budget meeting, we weren't.
Well,
No, I
I'm
can't
just
find
looking at
it.
the property.
Well, it doesn't, I mean,
It-
what I'm saying doesn't really matter. I'm saying that,
think it's back here.
I agree with what you're saying, should
Right
be
here.
looked at and should be done.
I thought community development increased from 7,000 to 13,000 here based on the proposed budget. Did we keep the
No, that
13,000?
was all, the community development budget.
We had a
is
$20,000
Is the
budget
total
for
of
community
that,
development.
which should have been 20,000 both years.
This one.
Yeah, see, that was 20, and that should add up to 20 there. And that should,
Okay, so it didn't go from 7
no,
to
it should have
13.
stayed the same.
Okay, well, we can look at that. I just,
But
I thought I
I'm not-
understood.
You know, I think that, I guess your ordinance, not ordinance, but your item for discussion was to suspend the rest of the community events in lieu of trying to do this. I'm saying do both. Let's go ahead and
But that's-
continue with whatever we've allowed in our budget.
That's my problem. We're spending money as a city that's acting like Dallas. I hear people coming in here complaining about things, and it falls on deaf ears. We don't have enough money for a marshal. We don't have enough money for doing this. We don't have enough, but yet we're having $7,000 worth of fireworks. Make that make sense to me.
I don't know how much we're having for fireworks.
Well, it was $2,800 just for New Year's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so whenever we assumed this role, November, a year ago, there was $20,000 in the community development budget whenever I was hired on, voted in, whatever. And so, but there was nothing on the books saying what to do with that money. And from what we were told, this money has been in the bank or actually allotted for community development for several years and never been touched. And so we kind of had a blank slate and what we'd like to do. So we started with a community development group, and then it got moved into the Citizens Advisory Board. What kind of events would we like to have? Here's our budget. And so the community is what dictated what we did, and we did cut a lot out. We can't do everything, but those that had the biggest, well, if you say the biggest bang for the buck, is what we did, and so that worked out very well. And we, in our last budget meeting, we didn't ask for more money, we just asked for the same. And in the last year, the community development that we pulled off, basically, has had lasting effects in our community to bring the community together with what it was intended to do. So we've met our intended purpose, and it's just going to continue to grow. But to foster that growth and development, we simply ask for the same budget again to see what all we could do with it. So this is where we are, and this is where we're moving forward. According to my budget, and you should have a copy of it, there's a few things that we have planned this year already, and we're marching on according to how it worked last year. But it was a blank slate.
So is this new to anybody? Did we know we're not ADA compliant for entering the building where we're gonna service the biggest community or part of our community that might have a disability?
Okay, so
Do we have
where are your specifications for not being?
1991 regulations.
Okay, for this particular building,
Mm-hmm.
what do you feel like needs to be addressed?
You have to have a parking spot, at least one for a van. It can accommodate a van or another vehicle. You have to have at least one, but it has to be accessible for a van. The sidewalk has to be, I think it's 40 whatever inches to accommodate a wheelchair.
Okay.
Or a walker,
Okay,
whatever.
we can check both of those boxes right now.
What's that?
We can check both of those boxes right now.
To this right here, to the entrance?
We've got massive doors and an ADA compliant door right there that can get in with no grade.
I'm gonna interrupt for a minute? Did we
Yes.
ever get our certificate of occupancy for this building yet?
Well, wait, let her,
And then-
let her finish answering your question.
And then for town halls and city council meetings, we never open those. We'd have to basically humiliate the person in a wheelchair. Let me open the big doors for you.
So the ADA rules have nothing to do with humiliation, it has access. And we've got access for them here, even the doors to the bathroom and the room inside of each of the bathrooms. I've spoken to the inspector. We've got.
You don't even have to do those because we're not required to perform to 2012's requirements. You don't have to touch the bathrooms. We're a 1974 building. We don't have a certificate of occupancy to do what we're doing right now or rent it out. So let's focus on spending money and using taxpayer money wisely, not on fireworks. That's all I'm saying.
That's why we're up for discussion right now.
Right.
That's what, and we are discussing it.
But to add to what she said, and you know this too, but you see these exit signs? I mean, you can't just have one entrance and one exit for handicapped people. They have to be
There's
able.
plenty of exit room right there.
I know,
And-
but it's not ADA.
And I
compliant. That's what
added
she's
the
saying.
park on here because it's a requirement to have from the parking spot to the play, you don't have to have it going around your whole park, but to the playground equipment. If I'm a mom, just had a foot surgery in a wheelchair, taking my kid to the park, I have to be able to wheel myself to the playground from my vehicle. That's just, those kinds of things. And these are kind of new
You know,
things that we haven't really thought of, I think, that might be added to the budget. And while, yes, we could probably do both, should we do both? I don't think so. I really do not think we need to have 2 events for fireworks when we don't even have a certificate of occupancy on this building.
Duly noted.
Okay.
Well, to me, it's still 2 separate items. It's a matter of whether we want to do the 4th of July or whatever else you've got planned for the year with the money we've got left or not. And what is the needs that we have to modify the building. And I agree with you on that. We just need to know what they are. We still got some insurance money left that we can make those modifications without hurting our, our
I'm
budget.
sorry, I lumped them together thinking they were part of, because community development is, you develop the community, not community events. That's what, in my mind, I mixed it up. However, you were over this, Jeff's over the responsibilities of this building, and then we've now been allotted this great program for our seniors, and we're really not supposed to be having them here. So I feel like the cart before the horse, but yet let's still have a party.
So anybody who is immobile, anybody who is not ambulatory, has home delivery. These are for people who can drive.
No.
Yeah, but
You
still,
can
I mean,
assume they want to stay home. You cannot do that.
But I mean, it's more than just coming in here to get the Friday dinner or whatever the dinners are. It's coming to a meeting. And if they want to come to the meeting, the same
participate.
principle would apply. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with that. I'm agreeing with both of you. I'm thinking it's just 2 separate issues. Let's deal with them as
Let's do it.
separate and not, cancel one to do the other, because I think that it could be managed, because all these stuff in here was in place when we did our budgeting back in September. Of course, you weren't on the council then, I know
Yeah,
that. but-
I don't think the ADA stuff was thought of during your budget, though.
Uh,
That's why I didn't
no,
want to
no,
say,
no, it
hey, go
wasn't.
fix this, without finding a way of not to spend more money of the taxpayers' money, which including our tax money. So,
I think maybe next time, if the city council would vote on these, we've got a citizens advisory board, which actually only reports to 1 city councilman, so they're only 1 vote, and we have 5 other people that are on city council, that as we have the events, and we've always had a 4th of July, that's been our most successful thing that we've ever had out here in my 30 years out here that we've had. We had a July the 4th thing. I think the July the 4th thing's good, and we should have that. But the other things, maybe the city council needs to vote on, particularly what we want to do, which events do we want to do, which events do we not want to do, how much money can we save here, because that's ultimately what our responsibility is, to manage the citizens' money.
and what makes it successful?
What? The
Participation.
4th of July? It just, 4th of July has always been a good deal. out here. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that you don't have to drive 7 miles.
But I will say
Like
that
the
New
rest of the
Year's, I
country.
think is, you know, I mean, that's something else, that's man, the only time you can celebrate New Year's Eve is on New Year's Eve. And if you spend the citizens' money on stuff for New Year's Eve, then, and it rains for 5 days, then you're not gonna be able to do that. That's kind of the purpose of July.
Which is hypothetical, because that hasn't happened.
Well, I know.
But if we purchase
So far, it
them,
hasn't.
if we purchase the fireworks, as I mentioned last time, and we have a rain out for January, then they're pre-purchased for the 4th of July.
Are they legal to store here?
We can store, yeah, they're consumer grade. So, yeah, they're legal.
Not in my house.
Any more discussion?
Well, we have locked, if we need to store them, we can store them in a locked vault, if you will. I mean, we've got places so we can lock them up.
How much money's left in the, how much money we spent so far in the community
So
development
I
fund?
believe I'm at about $5,100.
Spent?
Yes, I'm not sure what Breakfast with Santa did, I didn't,
5472.
okay, 5472. And some of that was durable goods that I think y'all used for the decorations and things.
Well, it doesn't matter. Because, I
Well, it
mean,
does.
you know, community development includes if you need to put a new swing out there, that's, you know, doesn't have anything to do with 4th of July. That's,
Right. It's kind of an all-encompassing thing.
Yeah, Breakfast with Santa should be $0 unless we raise money this year, in my opinion.
Well, we proved that.
Any more discussion?
You have anything, Roger?
No.
Here's my take. First of all, I want to ask the question, do we have enough money allocated, elsewhere for the necessary repairs for us to be compliant?
Not allocated.
My biggest thing is, you said no?
Not allocated.
Yeah, I don't think it was
You said
considered.
allocated.
I'm sure there might be an option to move things around, but we'd have to decide on that.
Okay. All right. My biggest thing as a councilman is liability versus asset. And I'm asking our council group, how much of a liability moving forward are we held accountable as a city to not accommodating or being ADA compliant, as opposed to this building, not having, occupancy, certificate, or our, playgrounds that's not ADA compliant, and our city hall.
That's a nuanced question, there's a lot there. For this age building, there's very little exposure for us being fined and not being ADA compliant. That doesn't mean that we don't aspire to do it, but as far as legal exposure, the building. And your other question was the playgrounds not having.
Yes.
The equipment
The
doesn't
equipment-
have to
the
be, but
equipment.
the access to watch your children play or whatever needs to be accessible by a wheelchair.
I would say, based upon my experience with the enforcement efforts of the agencies that enforce ADA compliant or private citizens, the success of private citizens complaining about it.
Yes.
Which there are activists that do complain about that. I would say our exposure level is low. It's not non-existent, but it is low, given the age of this, that it's there. But as a city and with the funds, you know, I mean, just as just my personal opinion is we should aspire to be as accessible as possible.
Correct.
There's no downside. I feel bad saying that, we're gonna be fine. We should aspire to exceed the standards.
Exactly.
But right now, I think based upon the age of this building, which would be our primary level of exposure, it's low, but that does not mean that we don't take it. I would not advise my client not to take action. But I don't think we're in imminent danger of being fined.
Okay.
And we would have advance notice and be able to cure before we get fined.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
What about our city website?
It's sort of this, saying we would have notice and an opportunity to cure. I will tell you, the accessibility of websites and sort of that's not one that it's not a core competency of mine. I've never been confronted with that issue. I've never had to evaluate it. It's mostly been in buildings. So
There are free services for like hearing impaired, for example, you know, with TTY capabilities that could call into video and watch this even. So I don't think the website necessarily, but participating in these meetings, or participating in town halls and these meetings, the ability to do that. I think they have free services for that.
So I would need to investigate more on our electronic technologies.
All right, so in closing, I just want to confirm you said that if we do face that barrier or that hurdle, whereas someone complains, there is a time limit, because I think I read it, that there is a time limit that we have to correct
It's 90 days.
whatever that complaint is about.
Typically, and I mean, really honestly, like to Jeff's point, like, it doesn't have to be perfect compliance, it has to be compliance.
Yes.
And if we open the garage doors and they go in through there, that would be a compliant. It's an unusual, NEA audits are their own unique administrative piece, and they have standards that aren't necessarily
Clear,
clear and coherent.
400
And
pages.
so there's a lot of technical compliance, but based on the size of our bathrooms, and, I mean, the big things are bathrooms, big things are bathrooms, doors, accessibility. That, we have low exposure, but not excessive, plus, this is an older building, that's just this building, the other stuff like the website and the parks, I have to do a more advanced study.
So I did meet with Mike Collier on the 10th of February about the compliance of this building for our certificate of occupancy. And he will be back next week to do another inspection, and I'll have him double check everything, because we went through the list and we've checked everything off the list for our certificate of occupancy here. So he gave us a temporary, and of course it has expired, and I told him we've gone through everything and checked it all. So he told me he'd come back out, but I did meet with him on the 10th.
I think the certificate of occupancy is less concern to me because I think it's in the works as far as I know. But the ADA stuff, I was concerned of losing the program that you just got solidified. That is
No, that'll be-
extremely important to
fine.
the people here, I think.
Yeah.
Because if that government agency comes in here and says, people can't even get over here and someone complains or whatever, we could lose that program.
Yeah, we've got that back.
Any more discussion? All right, all in favor of suspending city-sponsored and funded events for 2025? All in favor?
Aye, sure.
And opposed?
I think it would be a good idea.
Nay.
Nay.
Nays have it. Next item up for consideration, discussion, and approval of temporarily suspending permit fees for owner-occupied homes. Can I have a motion?
What was that, Sherry? I'm
Motion.
sorry, didn't hear you.
Oh, we're at D.
D.
Temporarily suspending permit fees for owner-occupied homes. Can I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second, any discussion?
So,
I-
I will bring it up.
Do y'all anticipate needing me for
No,
No.
we're good, Drew, thank you. I'm gonna turn it over to Stephanie as you brought this to the agenda.
All I'm trying to do with this is, I did some research on, I was so impressed with, prior to 1996, that 10% of the people living here today and owning a home are still here. And then prior to Harvey, another 20%. And now people after Harvey, that's like 49% of owner-occupied homes, or it's 36 since Harvey. I think we need to start incentivizing people to beautify their properties. And I feel like by nickel and diming with permit fees on the owner occupied, now if there's an investor or a rental house, let those owners pay the fees. Maybe we reestablish different fees for them to offset the owner occupied, and let's reward the people that have been here supporting the city.
Now, are you talking about a permit for putting up a fence, for example?
Right.
You don't need one.
Right.
Well,
I'm just
everything,
saying-
any permit fee is, if you're owner occupied, you don't pay the fee, you still have to get the permit.
Well, owner occupied would be permit exempt.
If it's homestead exempt, you give me your own contract.
If you're doing it yourself, you do not need to pull a permit.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
So then.
Sabrina researched that, and y'all let her tell you the
We'll turn
numbers.
it over to Sabrina.
This will make some sense.
Yep.
So for permits pulled from 10/1 to 2/19, owner pool permits, we've had 14, and contractor pool permits, we've had 20.
20?
Yeah, so that includes all permits, not just residential permits, that includes gas, electric, that includes every permit.
But dollar-wise, Sabrina, when you say permits, some of those are building permits that cost a lot of money,
Yeah.
okay? Whereas opposed to a guy putting a generator in at his house, which is a little bit of money. Okay, so the impact is like 10% to 90% or something like that we
So,
lose.
Out of the owner permits pool, there were 14. That amount was $4,318.50. Two of those were contractor owned, the rest of them were residential. And then out of the contractor pool permits, there were 20 in the sum of $1,822.60.
So out of 20 permits, it only added up to 1,800?
Yeah, because it's small $75 permits.
For the contractor?
So,
I thought it was the opposite.
I know it sounds small to the city guys, but we, like I said, 40% of our community is on fixed income most likely. And we're nickeling and diming our community. It might not be a big deal when you're looking at a big budget, but it is to each individual household.
What was the time frame again?
From
October.
October 24 to
So 6 months.
So are we talking about just contractors that are hired by the people, or are we talking about?
Any permit done on an owner-occupied home, any
Well,
permit.
The main reason that we have all the signs up about the contractors is to keep the riprap out from taking, and not providing insurance and scamming.
Sure,
people out
right,
there.
right.
That's the reason why we set it up that way.
Well,
So-
I would, oh, go ahead, Jim.
Do you know, do you have an idea what most of those permits were for? Just to,
We had quite a few gas permits.
Plumbing permits.
so that's probably generators.
So homeowners can do everything except for gas. They cannot do gas themselves. It has to be a licensed plumber. So that's where a lot of the contractor permits came from. So unless you're a homeowner, like, it has to be the homeowner pulling, so a renter can't come in and pull a permit. It has to be the homeowner pulling permit. So,
If I'm gonna build another shop, I mean, I got a permit when I built my existing one. I don't have any idea what it costs, but what would that cost me?
so it depends on
Foundation,
how big of a shop you're
yeah.
gonna build.
Okay,
Goes by square.
Depends on if you're gonna have electrical and plumbing in it, it's all gonna be based off of that. So if you're building a huge shop, like the size of the shop that you have right now, it's probably gonna be based off the square footage. If it's gonna be completely closed in, it's gonna be based off the square footage. Now, if it's just like,
and that plus utilities, I have to, yeah.
so it's
So I
gonna
could
be
be
3 separate
paying-
permits.
I could be paying for electrical permit, a plumbing permit,
And a building permit,
yeah, and a building permit.
And those permit fees basically pay the inspector.
yeah.
So,
Well, now the
and-
inspector doesn't charge us, so let's throw that in there.
so
Not yet, but.
Stephanie, do you know how much that we get off of those for a year? I mean, that's just 4 months, right?
Well, I think last year we budgeted for 8,000, or that's what we were kind of planning, right? For building permits, but I don't know about all the other permits.
Yeah, it was in the
I
budget.
have to look at the budget, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can't remember. Building permits was 8,000. I think we're at 5,200 of that so far.
But we have, so the older ones, we had 3, how many? We have the, just, that, the building ones.
We've had 4 houses No, tour contractors and timber regular.
And those are expensive permits. That goes off the square footage. If you're completely redoing, so if somebody comes in and buys a vacant home right now, that's completely gutted, it's gonna go off the square footage of the house, so it's gonna be an expensive.
What if I come in and say, I'm gonna move in that house, I'm an owner, I'm gonna move in it? What would your permit be for that? Would I have to pay permits?
Goes
or-
off square foot.
Yeah, it goes off the square footage.
But I'm an owner.
Well, at this point, if you try to buy a house, and this is another problem of having these kind of links into the vacant home situation.
Mm-hmm, that's why I'm
We
asking.
got people that come in and want to purchase a property, and then the realtor is not disclosing that it's below BFE. So when they do that, then they can't do anything with it. They can't pull any permits, they
Yep.
can't do anything, because we're not allowed to. Because regulatory, we can't give them permits.
So in that case, why would the owner have to pull a permit if he's doing it himself and being the owner?
Because
How
it's
the work?
below BFE.
Because they have to have inspections.
Right.
Right now, we are not paying the inspector to his request, but it's in the works for him to.
So let me ask you this question. So a contractor comes to redo everything, he's got in his scope of services, contract showing that he'll have it inspected. That means he's already figuring in the fee for this inspector. But that inspector still has to come to the city of Bell Oaks to pull that permit,
The
correct?
permit still has to be pulled, yes,
Mm-hmm,
regardless if they're getting their home inspections or not.
right.
Because they can hire their own inspector, however, we have to have a copy of that inspection before they get it to the occupancy. But yes, the permit still has to be.
For a roof out here, you'd have to get a permit for a roof. That involves zero inspection by the city. That involves about a $500 inspection by a certified windstorm inspector.
Right.
So, us living, touching the Gulf, we have to have a windstorm inspection if you want to get windstorm insurance on your house.
Right.
You gotta have it, okay? So, pulling a permit down there is just somebody going down there and giving the city some money so that they can make their house better,
Right.
improve the value and improve their house. That's the kind of thing that I think Stephanie's trying to
Yeah,
say. It doesn't even involve if you get a new air conditioner unit put outside your house, if you get a new air conditioner unit, according to our things, you're supposed to get a permit to get a new air conditioning system. That's right. And those people that come out here and you pull a permit, now, there's no inspection there, okay? There's no inspector coming out there. So, I mean,
For, air conditioner inspection?
Yes.
Yes, there is. He inspects it.
Yes, electrical.
The only inspection that he doesn't do is a roof. Everything else he inspects.
So, and I'm not trying to dissect it, but say, okay, it's Friday night, your AC goes out,
A service call.
It's a service call.
and he says, I gotta replace your unit, I got one right now in the warehouse to put in, but he can't put it in until we pull the permit.
no, he puts it in.
So he sits there all weekend.
I did anyway a year ago, and I live in Beaumont.
That wouldn't happen.
It wouldn't happen.
And then
We
a
have a lot of work. with
then a
this.
city inspector has to come in behind and check his work. Correct.
We've had times where there's been a week before the city inspector would come out, not to mention, you're saying it happens on Friday, Monday, he's not gonna be right there
Right.
to do something. Okay, it may be the next Monday.
But you do have the option of bringing your own inspector.
Yeah.
You can do that.
We just have to have a copy of the report.
And then that comes in, that goes into, like, if you decide to go and do your own work, or have somebody come in, and you just have to make sure that you have an inspector, a licensed inspector, to come in and inspect it, because
Protects
now
you.
it protects you, as far as insurance, so we have to take all of that in consideration.
Any more discussion? All in favor of approving temporary suspending permit fees for owner-occupied homes?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Aye.
Aye,
Nay.
nay. 2 nays,
I'm at,
you abstaining?
The-
All right, the
You
ayes.
just voted aye.
All right, one more time.
We
All in favor of temporarily suspending permit fees for owner-occupied homes?
Aye.
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 3.
3 ayes.
Okay, I just want to make sure I put on here for 2025. I want to make sure we
For
covered it
2025.
year.
Okay. So we have 3 yeses. Who's opposed? Good.
2 opposed,
2 opposed.
1 abstained.
All right, so the yeses have it.
Okay, so y'all gonna have to be more clear on this. So we're not requiring permits for anything.
No.
Owner occupied home.
Owner occupied.
Not-
So
not
if they
new
hire a
construction.
contractor, the contractor don't have to come.
Wait, no, permits still have to be pulled, the fee
The
doesn't.
fee is
The fee
waived.
is waived.
They still got to come get a
They still
permit.
gotta come and get a permit.
Yep.
But the fee is being waived.
For owner occupied. Yep,
The fee's waived.
right.
If the contractor's pulling it, make no mistake, if an electrical contractor goes down there and pulls a $75 permit to come hook up my electricity, I'm gonna pay that $75.
Mhm.
He's not gonna suck it up and, you know,
Right.
take a loss. It's not gonna happen.
All right, let's move on to our reports. I'm gonna pass off my time to Sabrina. If you wanted to inform City Council of some letters that you sent out.
So, I know a lot of y'all don't understand, and a lot of y'all don't agree with the new rules, whatever. It's what we have in place. So, I'm trying my best to make sure that whoever needs to can pull from it. So, I gave y'all a copy of this, and it has the highlight on it. This is a description of what the lowest adjacent grade means and what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to get the people who qualify LOMAS, which is a letter of map amendment, which will take their structure out of AE and put it in X.
Okay.
So in order to do that, the lowest adjacent grade, which means the lowest ground touching the structure, deck, garage, or other attachment, has to be at or above base flood elevation in order for them to qualify for a loan. So I gave y'all the 3 letters that are being sent out. The first one, I'm going to one up to the right-hand corner. All of these 5 homes that are in here are vacant, they're below base flood elevation. These homes do not qualify for a loan. They are below base flood elevation, so they can't pull a permit. They've been vacant since Harvey, so, this letter sent to them is, it just states that the only 2 permits that they can pull is either to demo the home or to build it. Because they've been vacant for so long, they need to do something with these permits. And then, the one that has a 2 on it, so all of these, the homes that are, there's 19. So these 19 homes qualify for a LOMA, however, in order to apply for a LOMA, we have to have a copy of their deed. So this letter that is written to them states that we need a copy of their deed so that we can apply for a LOMA for them. That way, the mayor has obtained a few LOMAs, but she's had to go through and get the deeds herself, so that costs money. So, I'm trying to eliminate the cost of the deed. If the homeowner will provide the deed, then that's money that we don't have to spend. It's completely free for us to apply for a LOMA, but we have to have that documentation in order to do so. Letter of map amendment. And then the third one, there are a lot more homes on this one, there's 38. So the third letter, these homes would qualify for a LOMA if the lowest adjacent grade was at or above base flood elevation. So a lot of these elevation certificates for these homes are very old. So it's possible if they got a new elevation certificate that the lowest adjacent grade could be at or above base flood elevation now, being that the ground shifts all the time.
And you can change that. You can adjust the lowest adjusted rate.
Question, so when we bought our house, our insurance agent said we might need a new elevation cert, but then he found there was a recent one. So I wonder, do you think they could possibly already have one, they just, like, you're not seeing it maybe?
I think it's possible.
Okay, so it's not like a
This is just
county-
based off of the records that we have.
Okay, okay.
So I'm trying to, the first letter is trying to get these people to do something, go make it home. But the other two letters that are written, I'm trying to make it where these homeowners can, for one, get cheaper insurance, because their structure's no longer gonna be an AE, it'll be an X. And then for two, they'll be able to pull permits if anything happens. Because it's not gonna matter for 2 foot above base load elevation if they have a loan.
In the second list, you have elevation certs that are recent, correct?
No, it's just based off of what we have.
What differentiates the second list from the third again?
The third, so the second one, they qualify for the loan right now.
Okay,
I just need a copy of their deed. So
Okay.
this is a letter just stating, we can apply for a loan for you, but you need to provide us with a copy of the deed so that we can do so.
okay.
That's all that one is.
And then the last list, we
The
don't know.
third one,
Yeah,
we need a copy of the deed and a new elevation certificate to see if their lowest adjacent grade is at or above. If not, it is something that the lowest adjacent grade can be corrected. It just depends on what is shot. Whenever they come out with the elevation certificate, it depends on where the lowest adjacent grade is. So it really just depends on who's doing the elevation certificate as to,
has anybody ever done that?
I've talked to Bud about it because he's the only one.
Gotten an elevation cert before? Is it a cost to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Elevation permit?
Yeah.
Things about
Oof.
Fitz and Shipman is who we used.
LGA does.
LJA does it, yeah.
Yeah.
So are you looking for people to go door to door?
But it'll save you a lot of money if you get the AE.
Yeah,
Are you talking about when the surveyor came, like he qualified for, we did the loan when we first moved? And the surveyor, yeah, it's about 500.
Okay,
That was for your elevation certificate or for your property lines?
Elevation certificate.
And there is no timeline on this.
That's not bad.
No, it's not.
There's not a timeline as to, this isn't something they have to do. It's just something that they may not be aware that they can do.
Informative.
So just trying to give them the option to do
well,
it.
it's definitely improvement to the community if we get more X's,
More,
for sure.
yeah.
We look better as a community as a whole.
Oh, yeah, and you'd save the money back the very first year on your premiums.
For sure, yep.
Yes.
I mean, so these letters have got, oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, anything else, Sabrina?
No, that's it. It was
Okay.
shocking.
Did the letters already go out?
Yes.
No, that, I was gonna send them out yesterday, but I didn't.
Can you tell me when they get sent out? There's a lot of people on DaVita. I wouldn't mind just going door to door a few houses and say, hey, you're getting a letter, just wanna let you know, call me if you have any questions, call Sabrina, whatever.
I'm
Maybe,
not getting it.
what's that?
I'm not getting a letter.
And then I think of,
You already know what it is.
My legs blow.
there's,
Get to the third
cause you
one.
get your neighbors talking all in a row. Maybe you can hit two and then they talk and then,
Anybody
You're the
else?
one that has to agree on it.
Bud, do you have a report?
Yes. Okay, so, like I said a while ago, the county came out and they did the pothole repair. We got a full load of that super special, super duper stuff to fill potholes with, so we have some left over. So that last time our leftover lasted us a year. So we'll still have some to patch potholes. If the water company has to dig up the middle of the road or something happens, we'll have some stuff to put in there to fix the potholes. Or 1 or 2 potholes comes up, we can fix it. Or a citizen can go get a couple of 5-gallon buckets and fix one on their street if they want to do that. On the street, not in their driveway. And then, I also wanted to ask that, okay, so, I took over the roads, well, I've assigned to the roads or whatever, roads and drainage out here. And if we're gonna, I talked to Sabrina about this today, if we're gonna put a work order in to do some ditches out here, I'd like to know about it before we do it since it's drainage, or, you know, I mean, I've kept people informed as to what was going on with the ditches and stuff, but then now this one on Wayside popped up, and I didn't know anything about it. Okay, so now what's popped up out of the one on Wayside is they went and dug that ditch out, but they called us back, and now the city's gonna have to pay to have a culvert removed and a new culvert put in because it won't drain. Because we need to look at this stuff before we just call and say, hey, John Doe wants his ditch dug out, and we just put a work order in. The main reason for that is because Brandon's working with us. We don't have a list of work orders turned in to the county anymore, okay? And they're doing the best they can.
Why? I thought we did.
So, but that affects your budget.
That's right. So, no.
Oh, I thought okay.
No, we don't have a list anymore
Oh,
of
okay.
them to work off of. And they're caught up. They came out and did some more work and some more work, and they got it done. So they're real adamant about helping us. So we don't want to yell fire if there's not a fire. And then they come out, they respond and like do that little one there on Wayside, and it's a flat ground that's not gonna drain. I mean, it might have an inch drop at the end of the street for 300 yards.
So is that work order turned in directly to them?
That work order, Lonnie called Sabrina, and she put the work order in for Wayside. I didn't know anything about it.
So there's your connection here.
That's right.
You'll check in with her, she'll check in with you.
Yeah,
But the procedure, if I needed mine or whatever, I'd still call Sabrina. And then she would follow up with you.
you can call Sabrina, you can call me, you can call Lonnie. Me and Lonnie, I've been telling Lonnie everything that's going on with the roads and the drainage. Every time I find something out, I tell Lonnie, okay? And then a citizen came to Lonnie, and Lonnie called Sabrina, and I didn't have any clue that this was going on. And the outcome is not so bad that they came out and did one. Lonnie didn't know, or, you know, Sabrina knew that we don't have a backlog of work orders right now. We're just trying before we had like 100 work orders, and they didn't even know where to work, okay? So we just threw them all away, and we just start over.
And I'll take responsibility.
Well, that's okay. I mean,
and
I'm
my
just
thing
trying,
is,
we just want to correct the
And I promise you,
procedure.
I let that one slip with not communicating with you. Now,
We just-
however, what I can say is, I didn't know they were coming. My constituent called me, and
Yeah.
my constituent called me, and I got with Sabrina.
I-
And I just, you know, I was like, okay,
That
my
was-
constituent had a complaint, I'll just, you know, pass it on.
That's
And-
something that I didn't tell you then, that you didn't understand. I've met with Brandon several times, the new county commissioner, and they're gonna do the best they can, just like these roads and stuff. We're getting things done now, okay? But we don't wanna overload them, you know, because if we get one where water's coming in somebody's house, that's gonna be our top priority. We get one that water's going over the road, that's gonna be our second priority. But there's no way we can dig out 22 miles of ditches out here and satisfy everybody. It's just not gonna happen. And a lot of these places out here are flat, like that one is on Wayside. Man, there's just no drop there, you know? So they dug a little trench down the road. But you got an old culvert that's been there forever, you know, ain't no telling how long. And it's got cocked up on one end. Well, this upstream side over here is higher than the bottom grade of the ditch. So when they dug the ditch out, you know, it can't drain. So
So as a single point of contact though, as a citizen would still. call-
Sabrina,
Yeah.
you're right.
And
Yeah,
then she
that's
would
good.
coordinate with you, and then you would be the one to call the county.
No,
Or-
Sabrina's gonna put the work order in after we agree that it's gonna be put in. I just don't want work orders getting put in that are what I'd call a third or fourth priority, okay? As opposed to some that are
So
priority.
you would help her on the prioritization of
Yeah,
that?
because we threw them away, you know, we threw all the other ones away, because the county didn't even know where to start, man. They were out here like, man, we don't know what to do.
That also affects your budget.
And now that we have to dig this culvert out and buy a new culvert and pay for the limestone to put on top of it, which historically has been done, okay? These are people that are renting a house, Okay, they're not gonna pay for it, okay? So these are, by the time we got that done, it'd be time to dig that ditch out again if we got them to pay for it. So the only way to really fix this problem is for us just to go ahead and pay for it and fix it. So that's $600 or whatever it costs.
And that's
Okay.
that's on the Sweetgum end of Wayside that you're talking about. that
Yes,
culvert,
sir.
Yeah.
The
Okay,
very,
so-
the very end of it.
So just as we've done on clearing out those other two properties where we've gotten the trees cut down and all, is there a way to attach a fee to the actual owner? You know, we're
Well,
doing work for that property owner. The property owner is getting our services for free.
They're not a property owner, because that's a
Yeah.
right of way.
It's an easement.
That's our drainage.
Okay, so
easement.
that wasn't somebody's driveway.
No.
No,
Oh, okay, my bad.
no.
No, it is their
Oh,
driveway.
it is a driveway.
It's their culvert, but it's on county property. County can tear it out anytime they want to, okay? Just like when people concrete over the end of their driveway, county can come in and rip that concrete out, and they only have to put limestone back. They don't have to put concrete back. So when you do something on the easement, okay, the county's not gonna be held liable for that easement. Okay? But these people aren't, I mean, most people aren't gonna care if their culvert's leaning a little bit, you know, and it's been there 30 years and they've been renting that house for a while. They're not gonna pay to have that culvert. They're not gonna pay $500-600 for the material to get that redone. I'm just saying. That's not what's happened before. Typically, what the city's done is, and if it's a culvert that's too high, like on my street, the people at the end of the street wouldn't allow the county to tear their culvert out. No, you're not gonna do it. And that's blocking our whole ditch off, but that's okay because we couldn't do it. Now another owner has it, and now the county could come in, and then the county to fix that ditch, that would be part of the county's job to get that ditch to drain. So they could tear it out and the city wouldn't have to pay for it.
I would think that would be like eminent domain if it's blocking up the rest of the ditches from
Right.
draining.
Well, I'm getting to one that's kind of like an eminent domain, so we'll just go
Yeah.
past that one, okay?
Yeah.
Now, the ditch number 1204, that's right over here, it was the last DD6 ditch that they didn't clean out, right over here off Sweet Gum. Just go right down the road, it's one side's cleared, and then the downstream side's grown up with woods, okay?
Okay.
The one
So-
going to Riverbend.
That's right.
Yes.
So I went to the last DD6 meeting and I met with John Murph, and then Charlie told me that the party that wasn't allowing the easement for them to fix it was interested in getting it fixed. So I went to those people. So, and they said, I went with them over there, rode the property, saw what they wanted to do, which I don't have, I don't have really anything to do with. That's gonna be up to DD6, which DD6 is all in. What do you want? We'll build you a building. I mean, we'll do anything you want because we wanna get this last ditch dug out. We did all this work out here and we got this last ditch that's like a straw at the end of a river.
Wow.
Okay, so let's get this fixed. So John Murph, I called him, he contacted those people. I don't know what status that's in, that just happened a few days ago. So I don't know if they got the paperwork signed or not, or what details they went over, and he agreed, you have to put it in writing, that they're gonna pull this fence up, build him another fence, put a certain amount of gates in, whatever the criteria, they wanna do whatever he wants to do. And get where they can drive a machine down there, and a couple times a year, 3 times a year, they can keep that thing clean. And then the city, that'd be the last, that's not the last of the DD6 ditches. Jim has brought to my attention that there's some more that are out in the woods out there that are actually DD6 ditches, but they weren't a priority as far as getting water out to the low spot where it wouldn't flood people's houses. Okay, so and what I'm talking about is downpours, these 30-inch, 20-inch downpours within an hour that and the water can't get out. It's that fast. We're not talking about the bio coming up.
So you mentioned you went to the DD6 meeting. When you find out when those meetings are going, apparently you're going, I would definitely like myself and Monty to be involved, and anybody else that would like to attend, and if we're able to go also, that way we're there for backing you up.
This is what
and also learning the proper procedures and the contacts with DD6 that, because me and Lonnie's on here to assist you.
This is what they told the previous mayor and I went to a DD6 meeting before, and you know, typically you don't really need to go to a DD6 meeting, okay? Once every 8 months or so, or 6 months or something like that. They have one every month. But what they would like for us to do, they came out here and did all this work, and they said, if you would, come out and kind of give us a pat on the back. It goes on their record in their minutes, okay? And it helps them to get grants and get more money. And that's what they want. They want to get more people, more equipment, more stuff. And when cities come up and you know, say, well, we really appreciate, I told them, I said, you know, whenever there's a rain or right before a big rain event or something like that, we see these blue trucks riding around out here. And coming from a flood-prone area, like a lot of the people that have lived here through these floods, it's comforting to see that you have somebody out here. You know, they actually care. They're moving sticks and stuff out from in front of the culverts on the DD6 side. I'm not talking about the county. I'm talking about the DD6. So that, you know, we have a guy that's assigned to our area. You know, that he
Yeah.
basically is a patrolman for this area.
And I would really like to go with that, because then that way we're meeting the people that you know, and say, for what you're on vacation or whatever the case may be, and we have an issue, we know who to contact, and we've already have a face-to-face, so they know who we are, and, you know,
And
and
Sabrina's
also
gonna have-
showing our
Sabrina-
community support to them at the same time.
Sabrina had more contact with John Murph than I had before now. So now John Murph is kind of the spearhead guy that goes around, gets the work done, gets everything done. So that was kind of what you were asking about, right? Eminent domain. See, we couldn't get it. You know, for us to get eminent domain to get that ditch cleaned out, that might be another 3 years, you know, before we
Dr.
do
Joe
something.
started with the one on Sweetland trying to do inlet lane.
Yeah, and then see that those positions rotate out. So when he left, that fell off the
Yeah,
chart.
he's with the city of Houston now, because he tried to hire me.
Well, that went out. You know, that goes off the chart. So that's a moving machine. You know, so
I think what he actually was asking you, you don't have a problem with, but
No.
in his defense, I think you were out of town, and I mean, and he
Right.
said, right, and because he did call me, I was at work.
Yeah, I have to ask him if
I
he
want
wanted to.
everybody to make that DD6 meeting. Is that it's on Tuesday at 9 o'clock?
and the same thing with the county. They're on.
Every
they're
month?
on.
Yes.
During the week at
yes,
10.
and yes.
And that's 9 at night or 9 in the
No,
morning?
9 a.m.
9 a.m.?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he did call me while I was at work and briefed me on everything that was discussed, during that meeting. with
Really, it
him.
was just kind of a pat on the back deal. But I did get to go to John Murph's office, and that's kind of started this other stuff. And then when Charlie told me that guy had said that he wanted to, you know, maybe interested in getting something done, man, I called John Murph. I went and talked to him first, made
Yeah.
sure, and then I called John Murph, and so they're gonna proceed hopefully with getting that ditch cleaned out. Because that's the last bad one that we got.
And, you know, and whether or not it fits with my regular work schedule and you decide to go, I would love to tag along with you.
Sure. I
And
mean,
start-
I'm probably not gonna go again for 6 months.
But it's-
I mean, that's.
Whatever the case may be, you know,
It's not fun.
Does anybody else have another report?
yes.
Roger, go ahead.
So on street signs, Lori with the Jefferson County, had Grace Jones with Pathmark Traffic Equipment send a quote, and we don't have that quote right now. Well, we have what certain things cost, but I'd like to put it on the agenda to discuss on the next agenda. Yeah.
Agenda request.
Agenda,
And that is your backup.
okay.
Does he have to if it's in the budget already though?
Well, it depends on the dollar amount.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's over $2,500.
Oh.
No, it is not.
Just spend it.
Yeah, you can just,
Okay. Also report that, at the City Hall building, the filter was changed on the HVAC. Also, So, make sure I'm saying this properly. I was asked the question, the funding sign at the park, how long is it required to be up?
The what sign?
Funding sign.
Be audio.
Donated,
We didn't nearly need to even talk about that. Just get rid of it.
but I don't know if it's actually specified, but it's nice to have it there to acknowledge who donated the money to.
And I'm not saying I'm like for taking it down or whatever, but the question was asked, so.
I would say leave it up until it becomes an eyesore.
It is.
It falls down and it's on.
It's fallen down, it's been put back up at least
They came out and put a 4x8 out here, Roger, for something,
Who's
and
that?
it disappeared. FEMA or somebody put a 4x8 out here placard in front of the thing saying that they paid for this.
For future things that I would like to discuss, I would need to fill out
An agenda request
an agenda request, okay,
with backup.
Or just do it.
with backup.
Like if you want to build a new sign when you close.
Hope this is send.
Okay. And, okay, so I guess the other things I have on my list would be for an agenda request then, and that's all I have.
You can make a report on the stuff that you have, it's just if you were requesting.
Of action or, yeah.
Okay,
You can make a report.
so for example, if I wanted to say, I think it'd be a good idea to have reflector tape on the swing gate barricades. I would have to,
No,
No, I
no,
just
you
do
just
it.
get
No,
it done.
just
We already
do
talked
it.
about that.
You know, some-
everybody's talking at one time.
I mean, that's something within the budget of your position, buy the stuff, go put it up.
That would actually fall under roads, so,
That needs to
Write a
get
word
put
for
up. Well,
$16 an hour.
actually,
Oh,
it's
$17
signs.
an hour.
say that again?
Actually,
16,
you're gonna wrap it as signs. It ain't roads, because that thing is off the road.
That would
Oh.
be actually your position to go and physically wrap that.
But I did tell him to, we discussed getting some tape, you know, to put on there, because it is bad. You can't see them at night.
no reason not to pay. I don't see it. That's
Yeah.
part of maintenance.
Yeah, just, those,
It is a maintenance thing.
Yeah. It- I think it went away. I think there was
He's
some
looking
on
for
there.
stuff because he was bored.
Yeah, because technically with stuff like that, I'll report back to you.
Oh.
That's Jeff.
Okay. You know, I'm getting my feet wet on the proper direction, so I.
And you
don't
got
step on any
help.
toes.
You got help,
Yeah,
you know.
so I'm still getting that.
All right.
That's all I have.
All right,
Can I have
go
a
on,
sign
Jeff.
real quick? You're getting quotes back from that place, there's nothing saying that we still can't look at other sources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if that's what you want to do, if you want me to look up some more, so we're gonna do some legwork and then do pocket estimates.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yep.
Because that bid was high, Ronnie. I thought.
Okay, yeah, it's great. Yeah, I appreciate that.
And just for instance, Sabrina for that culvert that we're replacing over there, she got a price from one company was $200, I'm just gonna round it off, $280, and the other place was like nearly $500. I mean, so who you gonna go with? It's the
Yeah, it's
same
a no.
piece of pipe,
Yeah.
so,
Pass the rest of them down, please, sir.
All right, Jeff,
so,
your turn.
All right, so I'll give a report on all the things that we're following. I'm passing out a flyer right now, and I want them back. I want them back because I only have a few extra. All these,
To keep his, right?
I'm not old enough, so.
I want you to look at it, Goober.
Look at it.
So,
He's gonna have some questions. There's a
These
test at the end.
flyers went out today to every mailbox
Yay.
in Bevel Oaks.
Awesome.
then I got one.
Yeah, that's what, these are gonna be for extras, for maybe the church, or have them at the office, for somebody to come by and pick them up. There's only a few extra. But they went out to every home today, so with a 2-day, 3-day mail, they'll be in Sunday or Monday. No, they went out in the mail today. And so registration starts here
Next
11/1 on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Okay, and did y'all see the part-time position?
Yep.
That's opening with this?
I sent that to someone that could probably use.
Definitely share that with somebody in Bevel Oaks. That would be wonderful to have.
I don't wanna
it
say her
in-house.
name, cause I don't know if she
Sure,
wants me to, but,
absolutely
yeah.
not.
She did try to call though,
Good,
so, yeah.
good. So there's a lot of big positive things coming
Yes.
out of this.
Yep.
And we're really excited to try to facilitate that, so that's a good thing.
Jeff, I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
The only requirement is being old?
60 years old.
60 years old.
Or
That's not
disabled.
Or
old.
disabled.
You don't have to be, ambulatory or, not able to drive and get your own stuff?
No,
It's just the age?
yep.
Really?
Yeah.
I
And it's private funding. Thank you. And listen,
Yeah, I got 2 more years to go.
we
I
had,
feel discriminated
I give you
against.
20.
I
I'll
think what
spot you
they've
20.
done, I think what they've done is
What's that?
lowered,
Let's say finish.
I think what they've done is lowered the age requirement to try to fill, put butts in seats, to be quite honest. I think that's what they've done.
And one other question that Jim brought up that I felt too is that if we sign up for that, I mean, I'm not coming 5 days a week, and I'm not big on wasting stuff.
You don't even know how it works. There's no waste.
Okay.
That's why there's the site coordinator. I took that, excuse me. You mentioned that last, and somebody else mentioned
Yeah.
that last. I went to the location on Concord, and they gave me a red carpet tour, and I told them, we're so up in arms about this because nobody wants waste.
Right.
And she said, oh, I can assure you, there will not be. So the dining coordinator will have a list of everybody who registered Tuesday. So we're gonna have that list of registrants. Let's say they're 10 or 12. And those 10 or 12, when they're sit here and register, they will have the full printed menu. Everything will have a barcode on it. And so that meal for that Monday the 3rd is now set in stone. Those people said they will be there to eat that meal. When everybody shows up on Monday,
They sign up again.
they will sign up again
Okay.
for who will, okay, I'm gonna be here on Tuesday, I'm not gonna be here Thursday, and I may not be here on Friday. Okay, so you're gonna sign up for this day and that day. They'll scan that barcode on the list, and somebody can sign up on Monday the 3rd and eat on Tuesday the 4th.
Now, if you don't, if you sign up and don't show up.
Like, you have a doctor's appointment or you get sick.
You'll,
I mean,
well,
yeah.
there's always that.
Right.
But they're not gonna have, there's very simple ways to do this, and they're not gonna have an abundance
Yeah,
of
yeah.
waste. They're trying to get this as pinpointed as possible.
But you have to sign up for each day.
Yes. And-
That you have to sign up the day before at least for
Or
each
that
day.
week,
Yeah, for each day.
that week. If you're not here to sign up that week, then they're not gonna plan for you.
Yeah.
What requirements do you have? Do we set up or anything?
The dining room coordinator will get with you to see what we need, but we're not looking at a whole lot of people. We could probably feed them right there in that room.
Right.
Yep. Yep. So
Oh, I'm
the,
getting hungry.
So they'll eat the meals here.
they will, yeah, that's the requirement. They've got to eat them here.
And you're gonna, we're just gonna eat that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had lots and lots and lots of calls.
Yeah, can I, so if they don't register on Tuesday, is there an opportunity for them to register again, like, later?
Every day that they serve, yes.
Oh,
But
so they can come Wednesday and sign up again?
Mhm.
Or sign up, okay.
sign up, yep.
Okay,
That's
You
what the,
either sign
that's
up
what
for
the
the
site
week or for
coordinator
the
will do.
okay.
So while they're here eating, and if they want another meal the following week or whatever day it is, they'll sign up that day again.
Oh, I meant like a new registration.
Even a new registration,
Okay.
yes.
And then the other question, if they don't have a site lunch coordinator by the 3rd, when this
They'll
starts.
provide it.
They're gonna provide it until they find it, okay, awesome. Do they need help? Cause I can come and help.
That would be wonderful to have some volunteers just to be here and be involved.
Right,
So my plans are to be here.
on March 3rd,
Uh-huh.
I don't mind coming at
Yep.
least.
Or
And
this-
it's noonish, right?
11,
11 to, where's
the
the?
25th.
Well, I think we'll find that out on Tuesday.
The
Okay,
25th is sign-up day, right?
Yes, that is correct.
It's my birthday.
Well, we'll all celebrate with you.
yeah,
I'll be eligible that day.
Okay. He'll be eligible for 2. Okay, so we want to spring off of this to have perhaps an activity coordinator from us. So maybe maybe it'll be Thursday, maybe it'll be bingo Thursday, or,
That'd be
or,
cool.
or county cross stitch
Charlie is a great
Thursday,
bingo
whatever.
announcer.
So, you know, we've got some things that
Better
we
call
can,
So we need to
Saul.
revisit that raise, Charlie.
Order.
we can grow into this and make it whatever we want.
Right.
So we're excited, and whenever we went for the site tour, it was like, they were excited because they said, "Do you know where these guys are going? Bevel Oaks." And I mean, you just hear hand claps. They've tried to get out here for a while. Didn't know it.
I do have one other question. Is it limited to Bevel Oaks, or are we allowed to expand outside to other?
If they can come in,
Right.
that's fine. And let me tell you, I thought about the Pinewood
My
and the
church
Countrywood.
and-
If there's enough interest here,
Right.
open another congregational dining site there. You know, and they serve all of Jefferson and Hardin County.
Okay.
So the lady in trailer 13, who cannot even drive out, saw it on her water bill and called in.
Nice.
And now she is on Meals on Wheels.
I had a quote about that today.
Nice. And
Wait, she's on Meals on Wheels or this?
Meals on Wheels.
it's the same program,
Right.
but since she's not ambulatory,
Oh,
they're bringing it to her.
Yeah, I've
And-
seen that, I've seen
Okay.
that.
And they'll give, what that's doing is putting eyes on them every single day. And when they bring the meal
Wellness.
out, they'll bring, on Friday, they'll bring 2 additional shelf-stable meals for Saturday and Sunday. And if the caregiver or the representative sees something out of line, then they can go and tell their supervisor, "Hey, look, it looked like she may have fallen," or "She has a roof leak," or whatever. It can lead to other services for them, so it's a multifaceted benefit.
Right.
So really excited to be a part of it. Any more questions on that meals? Okay, so, let's see, on the abandoned homes, I sent you this
Yes.
list. Were you gonna talk about it?
No, not today.
Okay.
Other than just saying I have a meeting with the girls Friday
Okay.
to kind of learn some more, so, yeah.
So we now can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 homes off of our inventory because they are now in the hands of
Sure.
another law firm. They're doing the abstracts on them now so that they'll be involved in a sheriff's sale. And it's a direct result of this group and the hard work of the office and pursuing.
How do we get a list of what's going on in the sheriff's sale?
It's on the jeffco.com.
Yeah, it'll be posted up. I think there's one for Emerald Source that's already been posted. But
Yeah.
Bevel Oaks is not on there. But it's on Jefferson County's website.
But we Bevel Oaks don't have a list of the 6 homes that are gonna be auctioned off.
They're not on there
Just-
It's
yet.
not on a public one yet, it's a sheriff.
This is a list I got from Heather.
Right.
For these are some of the homes that never has had any movement at all. There's been no reply to anything we've ever sent out. And so these are basically dead properties.
Are those rebuildable?
Yeah, are they on the list of Loma, opportunities?
See, that's gonna be,
Because they won't be able to pull permits if it's,
yeah, that's right.
Then you basically, you buy it cheap and you
Now,
don't.
they ain't gonna buy it if they can't fix it.
right.
So there's movement there. I just wanted to give a brief overview there. Garage sale, is set for the first weekend of May. And Stephanie, you and I need to talk about a job description for the code enforcement officer.
Okay,
So we can do that offline.
sure.
And then update on the damage to the park. I did reach out to the sheriff's department, and the detective actually wanted to know if I was ready to terminate any charges. And I went out and looked at the place, and we need to bring some sand in. It's not a we thing, it's a them thing.
Okay,
And so I've talked with that family, and they're currently out of town, but they'll be in this weekend. A full load of sand won't be too much. They could dump a load of sand, and the man, I think, owns a concrete company, so I don't think equipment's gonna be an issue either. But I'm not gonna drop anything from the sheriff's department until we get satisfaction of the stuff that was torn up.
I have a question.
That would be on them to call.
yeah.
So,
So, I've got this dream that he wants, can I discuss this?
I mean, we're on our time.
Okay, sorry, just able to be talking. So Mike Collier is highly qualified for everything we need. His credentials are for floodplain management, certificates of occupancy, gas, electrical, structural, and he's never charged the city to come out and do an inspection. And it's the incremental inspections, it's the preforms, it's after the pour, it's the framing inspection, it's all of these. He doesn't do windstorm, so whenever I build out here, I always have my own windstorm engineer. So he's made the city an offer, and he wants to retire, well, I think maybe he is retired, but he wants $1,000 a month. Okay, he wants to retire. He wants $1,000 a month to be our inspector and code enforcement officer and floodplain manager. Now, that is a lot. That is a lot. That is a lot of good stuff. However, I would love to tie up some prerequisites, some expectations that he's out here. He doesn't just come out until we need him, but he can help us with code enforcement on maybe perhaps a weekly basis. Spend 4 hours a week. Come out here when he's got other inspections, and we can perhaps give him an ordinance that somebody has called in. Maybe there's somebody that calls an ordinance violation on Charlie, and we could just put that on the list, and whenever Mike comes out on his routine, then we can just give him that, and he'll go and see if there's anything he can do to help Charlie comply. Rather than just give a blank check and say, we'll see you when we see you, I think we could trump that and make a win-win situation. So when he's out here, he can look for things a little more closely, and that's why I wanted to talk to you.
Yeah, wouldn't it be more like a work order basis, almost like Utility Innovations does, like this, I did this many checks and
That's
this
what
and
I would
this.
like to
Okay.
come up with.
Okay.
Yeah. At least we can
And would he
talk
be
about it.
consultant or like an employee?
He's gonna be basically an employee.
He'd be
Okay,
he'd be a contract
contract.
at $1,000 a month,
Okay,
which is, it's not a whole lot of money for the city.
right.
Does he have any limits, hour limits on that money? I mean, like I'll work you 20 hours a
He
week,
will only work 2 or 3 days a week.
Okay.
2 or 3?
2 or 3. He's
He's
retired.
fully retired from his full-time
Yeah.
job. So he doesn't want another full-time.
So we could kind of, I mean, any of the building construction stuff, that's obviously he'd be doing that construction, but if we want to start the code stuff, like where we started on the vacant houses, we would want to kind of control him on, okay, here's the next level of
Strategic.
enforcement we want
Right.
to take.
Right.
Now we want to go to grass, you know, or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
my grass is over.
All the steps and you gotta do everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And see,
Because, I mean,
that'll-
you know, we had one out here one time, I think it was a
Who found
contractor.
this gem?
And she just went crazy, because she was tagging cars that were vacant, that the guy had a broken windshield and he had taped it up before so it wouldn't get wet sitting out there. Just, you know, that wasn't what we really wanted. We wanted the really bad stuff, you know.
Right. I believe we can taper
Yeah, okay.
his
I
vision.
mean, that's a definite void that we've got in the city right now.
So with that, we would also be building the groundwork for a full job description for when he retires from this, we'll know what to expect from the next person.
The next step would be, once the code enforcement officer does his thing, what is your level of enforcement going to be? I'm not asking you to answer that.
Right.
But I'm just saying, I can
To what
issue
end?
citations and stuff, but unless it's got some teeth that it's gonna cost me money, or I'm gonna get, you know, beat around the head and shoulders or something, I don't think, you know, go away. Well, I
Sheriff
mean,
don't
yeah,
do-
what
Sheriff
is that?
doesn't
Is-
enforce
But
city
is the
ordinance.
sheriff gonna come out here and say, you gotta mow your grass, you know? Nah, he ain't gonna do
No,
that.
they don't
So
enforce any city ordinance.
that's, you know, part of enforcement is,
Consequence.
yeah, right, right.
I'm curious to see how is he gonna be able to go on somebody's property?
As an ordinance, yeah, ordinance enforcement, you can do that, 100%.
He can go, he has judges that he knows he can go do.
He's a
He would need one.
He's a peace officer
And
too.
he can get them.
No.
We would have to see if he could get one.
Well, he does
No,
all the
that's
time.
not a problem.
I mean, that's a
Why don't we
pain
do a
right
motion
there.
to, give our meeting, then we'll just reconsider
Yeah.
it and chit chat.
I'll make that motion.
Second? All in favor? Oh, Jim, did you have a report? I'm sorry.
Well, I was gonna,
I was gonna do, but that's
I'd
okay.
rather lengthy one.
I'd rather end.
I was gonna talk about how Charlie cleaned up the shop. We were gonna have a reception in there with donuts later on. but Putting it off now.
You do that every day.
Charlie's done a good job down there, helping
Good job,
with freeze
Charlie.
protection and whatnot. Yeah, I'm good.
So is the meeting adjourned?
Motion,
Second? Second, okay.
all in favor?
Aye.